Don't let fear fool you. See clearly when fear. Clouds, one evening, as the sun cast its golden glow over the ancient city of Rajgir, a troubled young man approached the Buddha. His face was pale, his hands trembled, and his voice shook as he spoke. Blessed One, I am tormented by fear. Every time I try to act, fear stops me. I fear failure, I fear judgment, and sometimes I even fear success. It is as if a dark mist blinds me and I cannot see my path clearly. The Buddha looked at him with deep compassion and smiled gently. Fear is a great illusion, my child. It has no real substance, yet it controls those who do not see clearly. Come, let me tell you a story. The young man knelt before the Buddha as he began his tale. The story of the frightened warrior. Long ago, in a distant kingdom, there was a young warrior named Varun. He had trained for years in the art of battle, but whenever he stepped onto the battlefield, fear gripped his heart. His hands would shake, his vision would blur, and his mind would fill with the worst possible outcomes. One day, an old sage visited the kingdom and noticed Varun's suffering. He took the young warrior to a vast forest and led him to a deep, dark cave. Inside this cave, the sage said, lives a great beast that has devoured many brave men. If you can face this beast and return alive, your fear will leave you forever. Varun hesitated. His heart pounded like a drum. What if the beast devours me? He asked. The sage smiled. Is that your fear speaking, or is that the truth? Varun did not know how to answer, but determined to free himself from fear, he took his sword and entered the cave. As he stepped inside, the darkness consumed him. He could hear deep growling, see glowing eyes, and feel the presence of something enormous. His body froze, and fear whispered, "Run!" But then he remembered the sage's words. Is this the truth, or is it fear? Taking a deep breath, he stepped closer. As his eyes adjusted, he saw the beast for what it truly was, a harmless old wolf, weak and blind, its growls nothing more than a tired animal's breath. The monster his fear had created did not exist. Varun laughed. His fear had fooled him all along. As the Buddha finished the story, the young man's eyes widened. So you mean to say, fear is often just an illusion? Buddha nodded. Fear is like a mist that distorts reality. It magnifies danger, confuses the mind, and stops us from moving forward. But when you step closer, when you face it with clarity, you will see. It has no true power over you. The young man took a deep breath and smiled. That night he walked away with a lighter heart, ready to see beyond his fears. This story reminds us, don't let fear fool you. Look beyond it, and the truth will reveal itself.